before spring break. Okay.
Last day.
So we will have only one theory to talk about today, and then we will do a case study. That's all for today. So yes, not yesterday. So Tuesday we discussed how to select supplier and how to evaluate supplier. We covered a lot of some concepts, and one thing we need to do is to learn a method to how to evaluate or how to select a supplier. So we started this one under this hierarchy process on Tuesday, but we didn't talk about the details. So many applications. One is supplier selection. Okay? So I heard you already learned this one briefly in other classes. So we will not talk about too many details, but still some of the concepts for this method I would like to discuss. Okay? So for this analytic hierarchy process, the main thing is the pairwise comparison. Okay? So because this is a multi-criteria decision-making method, and we have multiple alternatives. For example, we have 3 suppliers, and when we evaluate those suppliers, we may have different criteria: okay? Quality, cost is important, responsiveness, and we have a long list. Okay? So we have different criteria, but based on those criteria, and how do we select the best supplier among, like, say 5 or 10 suppliers? How do we do that? We have to do the pairwise comparison. Okay. So in this I uploaded a tutorial on Blazeview. So this slide is based on this tutorial. So if you are interested, you can take a look at the tutorial. It has more information than the PowerPoint slides. Okay. Assuming we have 3 fruits. Okay. So what's your favorite fruit?
Are those 2?
No.
Oh, okay. Pineapple.
Pineapple. You?
Strawberry.
Yeah, strawberry. Mine is watermelon. Okay. So assuming we have apple, banana, and cherry. Okay, we have 3. Okay. Then how do we select the best? How do we select the best, so-called best fruits? Okay, we can do the pairwise comparison among those 3. Okay. Then we have, if we compare 2 of them. Okay, first we compare 2 of them. How do we measure if I prefer banana better or with apple? Okay, so we define 6 scales. Okay, from 9, from 1 to 9. Okay, so if I say 7 here, that means I have a better preference to the apple, okay, relative to the banana. Okay, if I put 9 here, that means, okay, if between those 2, I really like banana. Okay, so that's the basic concept. Okay. So here we have 3 fruits. Okay, but in reality, when we select supplier, those 3 fruits can be 3 different criteria. Okay, so when we have the quality and cost, which criteria is more important? Okay, so that's the concept. So we can do this kind of pairwise comparison. So now we have 3, but if we have 10, we can do the same. Okay? So that's why firstly we have to compare those alternatives or criteria and so on and so forth using this pairwise comparison. Okay? So after we have this, okay, this is the first step. Then how do we put those things into a formula to calculate, okay, which one is the best, or which one is the most important criteria? Okay. So here we have to put those information into this matrix. So this is the result we got in the previous slide. Okay. We put this result in a matrix. Okay. So this is a pairwise comparison matrix. So in the diagonal, it has to be a 1, because we cannot like banana better than banana. Okay? So we are comparing this banana and cherry and cherry. Okay? So that, and for we only have to fill out the 1/2 of the matrix, okay, based on this result. Okay? So if we have this one, okay? The first row and the third column. So we compare the cherry and the apple, okay? If we look at this figure, we prefer apple, right? So if we look at this, we have 5 here, and because we have better preference to the apple against cherry. Okay? So that's how we put this information to this matrix. Okay? Then we will need to deal with manipulate this matrix to do our calculation. Okay. So for the other half of the matrix, we can just use the reciprocal value. Okay. If this is 1/3, this will be 3. If this is 5, this is 1/5. Okay. So that's a concept. Okay. So that means Aij is equal to 1/Aj. Okay. So that's the formula. So how do we calculate something we really want? Okay, the first one is priority vector. Okay? We have this fully populated matrix. The first step we need to calculate is we have to calculate the summation for each column. Okay? So if I put the values here, so we have A, apple, banana, and cherry. Okay? And also apple, banana, and cherry. Okay? Let me put the value here. So this is 1, this is 3, 1/5, 1/3, where's the other one? 1. Diagonal should be 1. 1/7, 5, and 7. Okay? So this is our original matrix, and we want to calculate the sum. Okay? I think I did some calculation here, so I just write down the numbers. Okay? For this first column, we have 21/5. The second column, 31/21. The third one is 30. Okay? So that's the first step. Then after we have the sum for each column, the next step is we have to divide each of the number by this column sum. Okay? So we divide each of the numbers by this column sum. Okay? This one divided by 21/5. And the second column, the first number is 1/3, so we divide this one by this number, divide this one by this number, and so on and so forth. Okay? So that's the second step. Okay? So after we divide all those numbers by the column sum, the sum will be 1, right? Because we divide this one by this one, this one by this one, this one by this one, also this one by this one itself. Because so all the column sum here will be 1. Okay? So that let me have space here. Let me try to write it here. So this is the first step. Without second step, let me write here. So can you see it if I write here? So A, B, C, apple, banana, A, B, C. So after manipulation, we will have this one. And the sum, no. Okay. Let me see. So that's the second step. Okay. Let's calculate the priority vector. Then after we have this one, okay? The third calculation we have to do is that we have to calculate the average of each row. Okay? The average of each row. Okay? So this is second step, and the third step, let me write it here. Okay? The third step, let's calculate the so-called normalized principal eigenvector. So let's use the W. Okay? It's 1/3. Okay? This is 21/5 plus 31/7 plus 15. So the third step, let's calculate this normalized principal eigenvector. Okay? First step, second step. So for the first step, we calculate the average of each row. So until here, we already know which one is more important, or we like which one better. Okay? So for this eigenvector, so if you can have different number, 0.228, 0.64, 0.07. So this represents your preference for what is the first fruit apple. Okay? And the second one is your preference to banana. Third one is cherry. Okay? And apparently, the banana has the largest number, okay? 0.6434. That means among the three fruits, you like banana best. Okay? And when we do this for the different criteria, we know the second criteria is the most important criteria. Okay? For example, this is the cost. Okay? Second one is quality. The other one is responsiveness. Okay? So that's how we compare more than two criteria. Okay? So that's how we do the calculation. Okay? But the problem is sometimes if we only have three criteria or three fruits, that is unlikely to make any mistake. Okay? But if we have more criteria, we may have some inconsistency. Okay? So if I go back here, okay, I said between apple and banana, I like banana better, and I like banana better than apple. I like apple better than cherry. But in some cases, for the third comparison, I may make some mistake. Okay? I may say, okay, I like cherry better than banana, which is inconsistent compared with the previous selection. Mm-hmm. So that's why after we calculate this one, we are not done yet. Okay? So we have to check the consistency of our selection. Okay? So that's why we have to do another step. So that's why we have to calculate this principal eigenvalue. Okay? So how do we calculate the principal eigenvalue? So we take this eigenvector, okay? And you see that those numbers are those sum. Okay? Let's do a multiplication calculation, okay? Using the sum and this eigenvector. So if we multiply if we consider this, this is also a vector. This vector times this vector. Okay, so that's how we do this calculation. We will have this principal eigenvalue. So normally we use the lambda max to denote this principal eigenvalue. So after we have this, let's hold on 1 second to write it down. So how do we utilize this number? Okay? So they provide a formula. Okay, so we use this. We calculate this consistency index. We use this principal eigenvalue minus n. N is how many fruits we have, how many criteria we have. Okay? Here we have 3 fruits, so this n is equal to 3. Okay? So if we use this one, we will have this consistency index. Okay? And after we have this consistency index, we have to compare this index with some predefined value. Okay? So here is a random consistency index. Okay? This is predefined. Okay? So this is based on their experience. This is the empirical measures. Okay? So let's calculate this consistency ratio. Okay? We already calculated this consistency index, and let's select our random consistent index, because we have 3 fruits, so we select this guy. Okay? So this we use our consistent index divided by 0.58. Then we will have this consistency ratio. If this ratio is no more than 10%, that means that's good. Okay? So if this ratio is larger than 10%, that means you have some inconsistency in your pairwise comparison. Okay? So you have to reconsider your pairwise comparison. Okay? So when we have small number of comparison, like we have 3 fruits, 3 criteria, that we can do it very easily by hand. But if we have more than 10 or a lot of number of pairwise comparisons, let's do not do the calculation by hand. We will have a lot of packages to do this HP. Okay? But this is the underlying logic to do the calculation. Okay? So this is just to show how to do the pairwise comparison. Okay? So any questions? Let me show one example. Okay? For example, we have a goal, okay? Selecting the best supplier, and we have 4 factors or 4 criteria. Okay? The cost, quality, and so on and so forth. And we have 3 alternatives. Okay? So how do we select the best alternative or the best supplier? Okay? Because we have to, for each alternative, we have to use the 4 factors to evaluate. Okay, so let me briefly show the result. Okay, so this is level 1 with respect to the goal. Okay, so we have 4 criteria. Okay, but which one is more important? So that's why for the first level, let's do the pairwise comparison for the 4 factors. Then after implementing those calculations, we know, okay, this is our priority vector. Okay? Apparently, the first factor A, criterion A, is the most important. The second is by the second one. Okay? And the third one and the fourth one, they're not that important. Okay? So then we know, okay, which criterion is more important. So that's our first step, and we did the inconsistency check. So it's less than 10%. Okay, that's all. Okay. Okay. After we know which factor is more important, let's evaluate each alternative or each choice against each of the factors. Okay? So we have three choices. So how do we evaluate those three choices against the first factor? Okay? So which one is better in terms of the first factor? Okay? So we do the same thing, pairwise comparison. Then we can say, okay, the first choice X is the best in terms of the first factor. Okay? Second factor, okay? We do the same thing and we find out, okay, the second option is the best if we talk about the second factor. And we do the same thing, and we can do that for C and D, but because they're not that important. Okay, so we can sometimes, if the difference is really big, if the one value is 0.64 against 0.07 something, we can, most cases we can ignore this one. Okay, we don't have to do the calculation for this one. Okay? Then if we combine all the material together, let's talk about which alternative is the best. Okay? So we can do this. We already have this one, so we adjusted with for factor A. So here we ignored the first one and second one. So we only consider the factor A and factor B. And then we find out, okay, which choice is best against the two factors. Then we do the calculation and we find out, okay, the choice X is 0.37 and choice Y is nearly half. Okay? So that's why the second alternative is the best among the three. Okay? So now we know, okay, it's better to choose the second one. Okay? So this is a simple example. Okay? So that's how we utilize the HB. Okay? This is a very basic HB. So after this HB is developed, there are many versions. You can consider the fuzzy number. Okay? So when we compare apple and banana, so if I choose 7, okay, and like banana better than apple, I put number 7. But are we certain that it's exactly 7 or it's about 7? Okay? And then sometimes we have to use the fuzzy number. Okay? And they also developed another A and P. Okay? So there are a lot of versions for this. Okay? But this is a basic HB approach. Okay? So any questions? So I think that's all we need to do today, and let's do a case study, then we will be done. So for this case study, let's do it individually. Okay, so because it has we can discuss several options. Different person may have different opinions. let me know if you got that ready. few more minutes. You wanna get started? So, first of all, do you guys want to, if you were parent, do you want to do this transaction at all?
No.
No? Why?
I don't want to be helping a despotic dictatorship.
Okay.
I just don't wanna pay double the amount of what the money is actually, of what the product side actually worth. That would be a big profit loss, and then it would also hurt the image of my company back in Turkey. So it just goes both ways.
Okay. But in this case, we don't have choice, right? So yeah, let's
So
assume.
he's going for it.
Let's assume we have to do it.
Okay.
So, well, so first one we have to consider the cost of. So he provided two options, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to calculate the cost.
Right.
So let's discuss what cost items do we have to include if we ship to Romania.
We have to include, let's see.
More time to consent, so the consumption to Turkey, then you have to do the handling fees, a bit more, then you have to do generating the false Romania origin documents.
Okay. So first one, the ocean translation from North Korea to Romania, like this first one. Second one, the
Romania to Turkey.
okay, the land translation, handling fee, right? And generating the document. One thing we have one thing that the those kind of charges. Right? And that's the only way from the North Korea here. We have to go.
You have to go through the Suez Canal, so you have to include that cost as well.
That anyway, we have to go through this camp. Okay. So that's the cost items for shipping items to Romania. What about the option to Syria? What are the cost items?
You'd have the Suez Canal. You'd also have the bribery fees on the border between Syria and Turkey.
Okay.
You'd also have the the regular shipping charges, handling fees. So yeah.
If we're just doing one thing, it goes back at the Syrian Turkish border, it's 10% of the actual value of $160.
Yeah, that's for the bribe, right? So most of the other fees are similar. The difference is that if we go to Romania, we have to pay for the false document. And if we go to Syria, we have to bribe the border custom people. So that's the only thing. But did you guys do some calculation which option is has the lower cost?
I got that the first option was the lower cost. It may be wrong, but that seems kind of right, because option one, it would take longer, but it would also be cheaper, but the shorter route would be a lot more expensive. That's what I got.
The shipping fees and like handling fee are same. The only major difference is that one is for the false document, the other one is bribe, and for the bribe is 10% of the total value. So the value, so if we this page, so page 5, the second last paragraph, it says that's billion, 783 billion
Dollars.
yeah. So if we convert it to US dollar, that's going to be, I think I already I did the calculation offline, so that's it's going to be $50,000. So it's much higher than generating the false documents.
Right.
So Syria, so the option to Syria is more expensive. And which option do you suggest if you have to select one?
One through Romania.
That's what I chose too.
Simply, it's a safe choice because you have less risk of getting caught as opposed to going through Syria, even though you're paying more to get it into the country faster. It's just a safer route. That way you ensure that you actually do get your products that you're able to sell.
So you mean if we go through Syria, the Romania, that's safer using the false document.
Yeah.
Do you think the same way?
Because I mean, if they have the fake document and it looks believable, they'll let it through the country into Turkey. But the customs agents could choose to take the bribe. They could not choose to take the bribe. So that's a greater risk than having the false document.
Okay. So is there any risk when we try to generate a false document?
Yes.
Yes.
So what kind?
I mean, that means you have to link somebody in the Romanian office personally so that you can get those documents through. But since he's I'm assuming because he's been in the trade so long and he knows what they're talking about exactly, I'm sure he pretty much has done this not from experience or knows somebody who has done something similar to that. So I think it would be much easier to go that route, simply because as he says, he knows the tricks of the trade. Since he's been doing that so long, so it's just a safer option, especially if he really wants to make profit.
And plus, according to the article, Romania and North Korea still have really strong ties to each other, so that could minimize some of the risk.
Okay. And nowadays, the situation in Syria is so bad, right? So I'm not sure what the situation back to this case, but I think Romania is to me it's a better option. Although it may take longer, generating the false document that could be risky. So for example, I'm the guy to generate a false document. If I know, okay, you guys are want to ship something from North Korea to Romania and to Turkey, probably I will have the leverage to increase the price.
Mhm.
Right? So you totally rely on me, right? So if you have no other choice.
Right.
So if that's the risk we may need to consider if we go through Romania. So is there any other costs and risks you may consider for both options?
Well, the UN has sanctions on North Korea, but Ruben could probably tell more about this because he's actually been through the Suez Canal. He could actually probably tell you if they do inspections in the canal, because he's been through it during his time in the Navy. But that could be a risk as well. Been doing the inspections, be like, where y'all from? Where y'all going? So that could be a major risk too.
I don't know, I just don't like the whole big news. It's just too risky.
Yeah, it's too risky for both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, in any case, I still think Romania would be a better option. It's not like they're both getting their money immediately, like right after their payments right after about for both products. Because regardless, they say the chemicals, as soon as chemicals leave the Turkish port, then they'll start the process, which for payment, which takes 60 days. So even then, they'll still be getting their products before they get their payments anyway. So might as well take the long route regardless.
So that's that Terem is not getting cash from North Korea. Okay? He has to sell the lumber to Turkish people. Well, if that's his choice, there's nothing we can do, right?
Yeah, we'll just study it.
Yeah. And the third, the seventh question. So if he do the transaction, if he does the transaction, so is that ethical? I know probably you will say no, right?
Is he what?
Is he acting ethical?
Oh.
Question number 7.
Oh, no. I think no. So, because the other guy from Romania, he was needing chemicals from Turkish companies to give to North Korea. That's what I don't think that was stated, but it's probably implied because he said he'd have to barter the lumber and everything. So, and I don't really feel comfortable sending chemicals that can be manufactured into weapons to a dictatorship that is like very aggressive in nature. I don't see that as being human friendly.
I mean, I'll play devil's advocate. So my problem is that if they weren't asking for chemicals, I think it'd be okay because no one's really like necessarily getting harm along the way. This is just me playing devil's advocate now. But if they were to ask like for something else, let's say plastic or something or metal sheets, you know, instead of chemicals, then it'd be okay in my opinion because you don't know exactly what they're doing with it. They could probably do a lot of other things with that, considering that North Korea is one of those countries that rarely, has that complicated relationship with the entire world of getting imports and exports into the country. So if it were other products, like aside from chemicals, it would be okay in my opinion. But because they're requesting chemical and North Korea is one of those countries that has, the whole, what's it called? They're ready for chemical, nuclear war.
Okay.
Yeah. Then that's what makes it iffy. But if they would have asked for something else aside from chemicals, it would have been okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It could be anything that could be used for anything for the country itself. But the fact that they're asking for chemicals precisely, I think nuclear war. They're one of the few countries that are actually ready for nuclear war and, just that type of relationship,
So North Korea is asking for chemicals. That's really sensitive, right? It's really sensitive. If you're asking for food. Okay. I believe that's okay. So they call the Kim Jong-un the Nuke boy, right? Nuke boy. So that's a very sensitive product to talk about. And also, even if something is something seems legal. So for example, so last year, Turkey and Russia they had some unhappiness, right? So I think Turkey shoot down a fighter jet of Russia.
Yeah.
And Russia accused that Turkish president, his son is dealing with ISIS. His son is buying oil from ISIS. Although oil, that's not chemical for chemical weapons. It's just regular energy, right? Still, that's considered as not ethical because if you are buying things from terrorists, that means you are supporting them, right? You are giving them money. So although they are not directly related with producing weapons or like a nuclear weapon, but still you are financially supporting them. So that's another thing we have to talk about. And in terms of North Korea, because actually only a few people know what is going on in North Korea, but from the information we know, that's a very special country, right? Although the case that it's a communist country, but actually it's a dictator, so it's not a communist country.
Because once you look at how North Korea took communism and how Cuba looked at communism, it was completely different.
It's different.
Yeah, because I believe people in North Korea aren't allowed to leave the country at all, or enter the country, or if you do enter, it's like you're only allowed to see certain places, and when you enter, you can only be with these certain people who are giving you specific tours of specific places. You can't take pictures and none of that. While Cuba, you have like my dad's been to Cuba. My mom's friends are Cubans. Belize has a contract with the Cuban government where we send students to study medicine in Cuba, and they send nurse practitioners to come and practice in Belize, and vice versa. So they have that flexibility of where they allow their people to go outside, come back inside, let others inside. Of course, there's the technicalities of their visa requirements and stuff, but it's much easier to get a visa to go to Cuba as opposed to getting one now, compared to North Korea. And now that the U.S. relations have gotten better with Cuba,
yes.
now you can travel directly from the U.S. to Cuba. So that's more different now, which is different from what is going on in North Korea at all. Like I know there was an American student who got imprisoned in North Korea simply because he took a picture or something like that, and he can't leave the country. He's going to be in prison there for like 20 to 25 years for simply just taking a picture. And there is no way that they can get him out, even though the U.S. has tried and negotiated to get back the student. So there's a whole lot of extra procedures with North Korea. It is so extra, but
Yeah. That's a lot of politics. So recently someone killed Kim Jong-un's brother in Malaysia. So they believe Kim Jong-un is behind that. That's why. But that although that's not the topic of our class, but when we do the business, like this Turkish guy, we have to consider politics. Although even if we are not having business with North Korea or those kind of countries, if we deal with international shipments, if we have to go through the Suez Canal and other things, we have to consider the political perspective. So if the relationships between, for example, your country and Egypt, right? So it's not that good if the origin of that vessel is from your country, then you may have some trouble. So that's something we have to consider. And on Tuesday, we briefly talked about the different kind of bribe, those things. So we know here in US that's zero tolerance. We cannot have that thing.
Well, I see them all the time in Belize. It's because Belize is like, it's who you know that determines what you can do in the country. So it's like, to have that upper hand advantage in business in Belize, you need to know the right people in government.
But that's kind of network connection, right?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because it's like, because a lot of the things is like, okay, so let's look at, there's this, we only have in Belize, the beer industry has been monopolized. Has been monopolized in the past, because there were only one company run the whole beer industry, and they did not allow foreign beers to come into the country.
So who doesn't allow the government?
The government, but because the same people who owned this brewery in Belize who had political ties that funded the political government, that party who was in power at that time. When the government changed and turned in, and the Democratic Party came into power, they disbanded that. They built connections with the CARICOM, which is like the EU of the Caribbean.
Okay.
And because of that contract with the CARICOM, they had to allow imports from other countries to come into Belize, so they had to open that beer market. So now in Belize we do have Red Stripe, Heineken, Kabuli, President, all these different beers. But before, it was only strictly to this one company. And previously, it's like, yes, they also manufacture the Coca-Cola products in the country. And now the problem is that they don't allow like Pepsi competition to come in because it's hard. Because they have pretty much control over everything. And when it comes to like logistics, my parents don't like them at all. Because my dad has a small retailing shop, but he also manages the government lottery in the country. So for the retailing shop, my mom manages that. But the thing is like, they can do pretty much anything they want when it comes to like carrying out orders, because they're the only ones that produce the product. So sometimes when they changed the system, they pretty much had like, you can only order certain amount of cases of this soft drink because that's the only ones we have. Mm-hmm. Or you can only order so much amount of cases of this beer because this is all we have. So it kind of, the logistics aspect of it was kind of like very controlling. So, but now they've gotten better. But previously, that's what they did. They controlled the amount people ordered, how much they distributed, and what products they had available. They used to have all assorted varieties of products, but then at one point they only were producing certain products. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that I believe this kind of thing happens in most of the countries. Even in US, although it's forbidden, but I believe someone doing it underground. Mm-hmm. And also, you know, I'm not sure the South Korea president Park. So I'm not sure she's already a former president or not. She was accused taking bribe from something. Mm-hmm. So in many countries that happens a lot. Okay. So although in developed countries like the US and most of the European countries, France, UK and Germany, the business is really professional. That's good. But in most other countries, we have to consider like other factors, connections, certain kind of bribes. So that's something we have to consider. And when we do the business, like in this case, I'm not sure why this guy really wanted to have this business with North Korea. I believe, I don't think he really needs this single transaction, because it seems like he's a successful businessman,
yeah,
right?
He doesn't need it.
He doesn't need why he really wants. Yeah. So sometimes when you are being greedy, so you you want to take the risk, although you know that's something you should not touch.
I mean, the way it was like the Romanian, his Romanian business connection, I was talking to him, it seemed like, you know, you could do it if you want, but I highly wouldn't suggest it. Like the way he talked about it, it's like he knew exactly, the Romanian guy exactly knew, what was hinting clearly to him that, you know, really like think about it before you go through with this, because, you know, you're not just dealing with any customer, you're dealing with North Korea.
Yeah.
And then there's so many sanctions that you're gonna be breaking, and then on top of someone find out, you'd be the one indebted with all of this debt that you'd owe Turkey, not North Korea would be owing them, but you'd be the one penalized. And they would have already, their chemicals would have already been on the way regardless. They don't lose anything, you're the one losing everything.
Yeah.
I would just let someone else do it and let them get in jail.
Yeah, so if in reality, let's do not touch this kind of big business.
Because if the UN finds about that, you could get some time.
Yeah.
All right.
So you guys have any other comments or questions before the spring break?
So when do you want to start working on the final project and the individual presentation?
So you guys can start right now. So that's totally your choice. Probably the best thing is not just put all those activities. I know you guys are busy. you guys have other activities. Let's do not put everything by the end of the semester. So if you guys are ready, so we have 2 more activities, right? Final project, and also we have a case presentation, case study. So whenever you guys are ready, let's do it before when we get when you guys get really busy.
Okay. All right.
So Naomi did last presentation, right? The next one will be Ruben, right?
Ruben.
Okay. I will contact him. So we will have 1 week break. Okay.
1 week break.
Yeah.